I read a lot of indie books in the last 2 weeks. I can't wait to talk to you about them, specifically this new trade from Mark Millar, 5 out of 5, home run. Let's talk about some indies. Howdy, howdy, I'm American Texan, and I love comic books, specifically the stories and the art inside, enjoying the medium itself. We'll let other channels deal with the drama and the stupid things that creators say. We're here to talk about the stories. I didn't get an indie video out last week, so I'm quickly going to cover the books that I did read last week, which I think was like 10 books, and then we'll cover the books that I read this week, which was unfortunately a little bit of a mixed bag. But man, we ended on a banger. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. We are running a giveaway at the end of the month. We've got 4 days left, according to the time that I post this, and I'm going to be giving away some books from my collection, including some books that I went ahead and bought to give some money to my LCS and have something special for you guys. So we'll be giving away stuff like some indies that I got, some extra crowdfunded indies, Geiger Volume 1, facsimile here, Batman Adventures, Paul Dini, absolute joy to read. And all you have to do is subscribe by the end of the month and comment on a video. And if you subscribe now, just go back and comment on previous videos, free 100, and you'll be entered in to that giveaway. I'm just looking at the videos in February, so don't go past that unless you just really want to support the channel and boost the channel. But if we get to 200, which seems like a long shot, but I never doubt the internet. If we get to 200 by the end of February, I'm going to be giving away this hardcover deluxe Junkyard Joe, still sealed, my favorite book of all time, and I'll be giving that away to subscribers, but only if we hit to 200 subscribers by the end of February. All right, so let's talk indies. This video is all about talking about the indie books that I read, including stuff from off the shelf at my LCS and stuff that comes in the mail, and we're going to close it out with the trade that I got in the mail, Conquered by Mark Millar. And wow, I can't wait to tell you about this one. Let's go over to the table and let's talk some indies. All right, so here are the books that I read, 6 indies and 1 indie trade. Real quick, though, I want to look at the books that I read last week because I didn't get to talk about indies last week. This is going to be super speed run, ending with the top 3. Some great books that I read from Ghost Machine, Rockefellers 12, and Redcoat 16. Rockefellers, is still coming back from its slow time between issues 8 and 10. Did suffer a little bit from the delay. Redcoat is still an absolute joy to read. I cannot wait for that to hit the big screen and experience this. Hopefully they keep it well adapted. Both of these were fantastic reads. The Circus Losing Control is doing really well with the intrigue if you like a good intrigue story, but this takes place in, I guess, England, Britain. I don't know what you're supposed to say, but it's actually very interesting and I really enjoyed it. Ghost Pepper, this one came out with a new one we'll talk about recently. I won't say too much about that one, but it was good. Power Fantasy 15, I think there's 1 issue left. I thought this was the finale, and it's still on track to be a good solid book through and through. Transformers 29. Actually, this was I think this might be my favorite Kirkman Mora Transformers here. Great action, really done a good job of paying off what they've been building up so far. This was tough to not include the top 3, but the Phantom, number 5, this closes out the arc, and wow, just, again, beautiful art inside of this, a lot of heart in it, and just, I am a total fan of the Phantom now. I'm now a Phantom fan. I don't know how you say that. All right, top 3 books of last week. Devil on My Shoulder, Kyle Starks, just a fantastic revenge story. John Wick from an R-word survivor, and so just a beautiful read. Space Ghost never misses. Another great one from David Pepos. This one had a lot of feelings. You know I love books that make me feel things. This one made me feel a lot. But the winner is going to be from last week, Geiger 21. The setup here is fantastic. This is I don't even want to call it fan service, but there's a lot of moments in here that I'm like, whoa, no way. Setting up some things, paying off some things. Northerner and Geiger are a great dynamic duo in this. Absolutely enjoyed those. All right, now let's go into the books that I actually read this week, and let's open up the books and take a look. I love that you guys are appreciating the open books. I get a little self-conscious on this because I don't have digital copies. I read physical. I don't want to go pay for the digital just for some videos at this point with the size of this channel. So I appreciate you guys enjoying this opening. This one is written and illustrated by Roger Langridge. I think this is Muppets Noir. I should have said the title here. Muppets Noir, #1 from Dynamite. And I think this is a passion project. It really comes out here that there is a lot of respect to the original IP. I watched some of the classic Muppets, and yeah, one of the best Christmas movies actually is Muppets, the Christmas Story. I think that's great. I watched that almost every year with my daughter now because she enjoys it too. Anyways, that's a whole different episode of why that's such a great Christmas movie. But this does pretty good homage to classic noir storytelling. It's pretty Muppety in the way that it's set up, with Kermit having like a not a fever dream, but he's knocked out cold while he's reading a noir book, trying to relax. I thought Miss Piggy was a little mischaracterized here because Kermit kind of flips out on her and she just takes it and walks away. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on with her, but I feel like she should not have acted so regressively. Is that a word? Where she just kind of walks away and takes it. But then we get into the main part of it, which is Kermit having this noir fever dream of trying to solve a case, and he meets all of the characters in this play that they're trying to produce IRL. And some of the things that they talk about in real life are obviously affecting his dreams. It's very interesting. And there's actually even, as he's going through to solve some things, there's actually like what are supposed to be musical breaks, which is very classic Muppets. And it's cute. It's really enjoyable. Just didn't jive for me, but I would still recommend it. If you are interested in a Muppet story or you just like the Muppets, I think you'll really enjoy this. I came into this more as I'm aware of the Muppets. I enjoy some Muppets. I'm more of a noir fan, and I was looking for a little bit more of that. But again, I think this is a great book. I think it's very well done. It's obvious the artist and writer's passion comes through this. They really respect the IP. I'm not pulling it just because it's not gelling with me that much. But that said, I still think it's a great book. And any Muppet fan or even noir fan that, like me, is aware of the Muppets, I think you give it a shot. I'm glad I gave it a shot, but I just won't be pulling it because it just didn't resonate with me. All right, up next, I read Death Fight Forever, and the summary of my review of this is just going to be, I wish I liked it more. I think this is a great homage to some classic 90s video games or stories, maybe even comics. It's really kind of interesting indie art here. This is written by Andrew McLean and art by Alexis Zurit. On chapter 1, looks like they'll have different artists on different chapters of the book. And it's pretty trippy art. It honestly felt like this belongs in a heavy metal magazine. It has that kind of style, and normally I like those, but as its own individual issue, I just didn't think it was worth it for me. It's an interesting action. You're really thrown into this world of someone trying to take over this pyramid, and then someone's trying to protect the pyramid. Kind of gives like Cobra Commander vibes and G.I. Joe vibes, but it's like you couldn't afford the G.I. Joe, so you got the Cougar Joe or the Tiger Joe there. So it's an interesting story, and it's definitely up a certain alley. Unfortunately, as much as I want my alley to be that one, it's not. So I didn't enjoy this one, but I think that's more of a personal thing. But if you want to like this because you like other books like this, you might enjoy it. It just didn't resonate with me. So Death Fight Forever, also coming off the poll. All right, American Caper number 4. This is written by Dan Hauser and illustrated by David Lapham. I'm enjoying this series, but this issue was definitely the weakest of the bunch for me. The art is great, but instead of the fast changes of the satirical culture war, we really focus on just two scenes here that are happening. And it's basically a guy gets out of prison and goes and finds his old girlfriend and old work business associate pal. And then we get a little bit more from the angle of our main character, the lawyer's wife, who is alt-right indoctrinated extremist. You do get a little bit of an empathetic vision from her, because even though she's very disrespectful and a really just horrible wife, she doesn't want to kill her husband, and you can see that she's kind of being groomed by whoever this extremist is online, Charlie. You can see that she's kind of being groomed into hating him more, almost in a malicious way, to where this internet guy Charlie wants to groom her to kill her husband, because she puts a little bit of a morsel of, well, he's not a bad guy, but I saw him talking to a kid one time, and the internet guy goes, well, he's obviously a PDF file and needs to be eliminated. And so she's obviously being I don't know, is gaslighted the word, indoctrinated? It's an interesting take on there, because you kind of feel a little bit of empathetic for her on that. Not enough to excuse what she's done, but you can kind of see where they're telling a story here. And then we get this main scene with the guy coming out of jail. Now, this is where the story suffers, because it's coming out monthly, and it's good that it's coming out monthly, right? But I kind of don't remember who this guy is or what he's doing. I know there's kind of a real estate play going on here that's less than what's the word I'm looking for? less than kosher, I guess is the only phrase I can come up with. But I don't really can follow who all these characters are. So this will be a fun trade to read. And I'm not removing it from my pool, but this was a little bit of a sidestep, almost like you go on a side quest in Grand Theft Auto, and it's something that's not really dealing with cars or thievery. You're just kind of doing some kind of middleman mission. Or actually, a better example would probably be like you're swinging through in the Spider-Man game, and then you get called to a side quest where you have to graffiti a building. It's kind of weird. Like I play Spider-Man to beat up bad guys and swing around the city and just be like a superhero. But now I'm kind of stopping and just spending some time doing a silent mission, graffitiing a wall. Like I'm sure that's up some people's alley. I'm sure some people might get upset if I said something like that, but it's not why I got the game. And this issue kind of goes against what I thought the whole series would be. So it's a weak issue, but there's still some credit built from what they've done before. So American Caper, I'm still enjoying it. If you like that Grand Theft Auto humor, you may still enjoy it. Just know that issue 4 is a little bit weaker. I will still, I think, definitely recommend the trade if it ends well. Ghost Pepper number 8. This one is one that I want to like more, but I'm still liking it because Ludo Lullaby in this one, who's doing the writing and the illustrating, does a really good job of like kind of cooling me down and then doing something in the story that just amps me right back up to being interested. And the first half here, we're dealing with some fallout out of the city kind of needing protection because Ash is there, and the pretender of the pretender conqueror guy that says he defeated the big bad guy at the beginning of this, before all this happened. Can't remember his name. I want to say Crimson, but I don't think that's it. He is aware that Ash is still alive, and so he needs to get rid of Ash to make sure that he can maintain power. That's kind of my read on the situation. Loloi, he is not really the main character in this issue, nor in the last few issues. Like Ghost Pepper was kind of, to me, promoted that she was the main character and he'd be following her around on this post-apocalyptic taco truck. I shouldn't say taco truck, food truck. But no, we're really spending a lot of time with Ash. And I think Ash is a very interesting character. We still don't know too much about this robot on his shoulder. I was getting kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And then we get amped up by a visit from someone from Ash's past who basically like kills a lot of innocents in the city trying to get to Ash and send a message to Ash. And then you find out maybe she's not all who she says she is or all who she's presented to be. And I'm right back in it. I think it was very interesting. The art is really great here. I'm super enjoying the art. The dialogue is getting tighter, even though I don't know a lot of what's going on. I have just enough of a grasp. Like I don't have to know everything that's going on. I don't need everything explained to me. I'm totally fine being confused as long as I can have a little bit of grasp of what's going on. And this one really gave me a better grasp on what's going on with all the things that I didn't think I knew, but now I'm kind of getting an idea. This is another one I think will read better in trade, but again, Ludo Lullaby, I like to support it monthly. And I know I don't like the word support, but I choose to pay for it monthly because at the end of the day, I still think it will be a great complete story, and I prefer to have all the floppies. So that's Ghost Pepper, and they did say in the letters in the back, they're good for 12 issues. So I was kind of unsure, is it going to be 10 issues? I'll definitely stick on. 12 issues, I wasn't sure, but after the end of this, I think I'm going to stick on for another 4 issues. It'll be a lot of fun. I think that's worth $16. Last indie floppy that I read for the week is G.I. Joe 19. This one is by Joshua Williamson, illustrated by Andrea Milana, and this was a lot of fun. A little bit slower of a start. We get some more dynamics between Joe and the Clutch and the robot that I can never remember. What is Clutch's robot's name? Hound. There you go, Hound. And so obviously Joe is Duke, I should say. Duke is very upset that this has been hidden from him. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a huge thing. That's definitely a court-martial offense, right? But they decide to try to figure out what's going on. Then you get, I believe this guy's name is Stryker. You get some follow-up from his appearance in I think it was the Free Comic Book Day book last year. He comes back. I was glad to have this little 2-page recap here. And then you kind of find out what he's been doing since then, because he's going to come back and play a major part in the story. Really good dynamic here between Duke and the Hound, because as a reader, like, the Hound, the Autobots are good guys. But Duke doesn't know that. Like, he doesn't know them from Adam. There was a really good conversation a few issues back where, the military general guy was like, look, we can't tell you guys apart. We didn't know that like the tattoo or the sticker makes the difference between good guys and bad guys. A little tongue in cheek, a little meta, but Duke doesn't know that. Like, he sees a robot, he's gonna be like against the robot, right? And I totally get that. I think it's written really well. So we end with a really great scene. Slight spoiler alert, because I love this little page turn here, where you got Stryker and this other guy, I can't remember his name, coming to the racetrack to exchange information or talk, and then you get a page turn and just boom, like literally when I saw this page, I was like, what? And you get this G.I. Joe character here, I can't remember his name, Scrap Iron, who basically drives a monster truck with rocket launchers. I am super excited for that. That's exactly what we want G.I. Joe to do for us. So a little bit of a mixed bag on indies. I did enjoy American Caper and Ghost Pepper, but not enough to really just full-throated recommend it. So G.I. Joe continues to be great, but I will recommend this trade, and I'm only going to go over it quickly because I want to do a whole video on this. So that'll hopefully come out at the end of the week, maybe this weekend. This is Conquered, Volume 1 by Mark Millar, illustrated by Valerio Giangiordano, and this is an absolute pleasure, and I'm going to tell you this. The Kickstarter description, or I call it a solicit, did not do this book justice. When I got this book, I thought it was going to be like New York City, and there's some kind of accidental or unplanned portal, maybe like a clashing of worlds, kind of like The Witcher, meeting of worlds between a fantasy world and a modern world. And dragons are coming in, and we have to deal with these dragons. It's kind of like maybe the dragons migrated, and we have to deal with these migrating interdimensional dragons. I don't know, but it sounded cool. It's actually way cooler than that. So this is, again, by Mark Millar. Unfortunately, always, if you're ordering comic books online and you know that they're going to come, quick word, make sure that if it's a rainy day, you get your packages out, even under the patio. Unfortunately, this package got wet, and I got a little bit of a watermark here. So I was very sad about that, but it didn't ruin the book. But just a little word of warning while it's on my mind. Always make sure if you got comics coming in the mail, get your packages out of the porch or out. Bring your packages inside so they don't get wet. It was shrink wrapped really well, but man, this box got soaked because we just had this crazy storm surge. All right, let's take a look on the inside. Like I said, I want to do a whole video on this, so I won't talk too much about it. But first of all, if you've been around the channel for a few months now, you know I am a sucker for maps on the front page, or excuse me, on the first pages here. I love it when maps are presented because it shows that the writer has a world in mind. They've done some thinking. Dork recently did this as well. So as soon as I see a map on the inside, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be good. So I'm super excited for this. And I'll explain the story in the way that I think it should have been explained. And maybe it just wasn't explained clearly. But there is a medieval world called Dacog. Is that what it was? Bracog. Bracog Tide. And they are going to invade our world. So it is like a fantasy dimension, and they decide that they want to invade our world for our resources, and it's actually they want our human resources. They want our men for soldiers, and they want their women for whores. Let's just call it what it is, right? That's what they want. So they plan to invade our world. So they use their magic wizardry to create a portal between their world and ours. And this book is setting all that up. And the main characters are very interesting. They're not good guys, but that's kind of who you're following. So there is this fantasy world, and it's kind of like Narnia. And then you're introduced to the main character, which is a prince of the world, and others came with him. They're kind of like special operators, I guess, under the prince. And they find out how to weaken the world. That way, when they invade, they're not going to get nuked out of existence. So they do weaken the world, and they invade, and it is absolutely crazy. So there's a little quick shot here of that flaming sword that the prince carries. So, and then it all comes to a head when there's a great page here. The fantasy world invades, and the modern day world has no idea what to respond because the grid is down. There's no electricity. There's no communications. And there's one more shot I'll show. Slight spoilers here that I thought was really cool, which is a jet that tries to take out the dragon, but the dragon's fire overpowers the jet. I mean, this is such a cool idea. So Conquered makes much more sense because this is actually this fantasy realm coming to ours to conquer our realm. And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into that maybe more in my review video, my dedicated review video. But this, guys, is a 5 out of 5. Mark Millar just hits it out of the park again. And Valerio Giangiordano does a wonderful job of illustrating all of the action, all of the characters. there's no good guys here. So this is one of those books where there might be one person you're rooting for, but they're not really a main character. There is some fantastic story to be had here. So Conquered, I absolutely recommend. So I may only have one floppy to recommend, but Conquered, 100% get it. And I decided to save the money and only get the standard trade, but they had a whole bunch of different formats available, including a premiere size. I think it was on newspaper print, and I totally regret not getting it. So when I back volume 2, if they have volume 1 available, because I don't want to get volume 1 of this and volume 2 in the premiere size, but if they have volume 1 premiere size and volume 2 premiere size, I'm going to get another copy of 1 and get another copy of 1, but in the premiere size, and the volume 2 in premiere size as well. And then, of course, I will not keep this to myself, and I'll do a giveaway for this one if I don't need it anymore. I hope you guys don't mind, used book giveaways. I mean, I take good care of my books, like I said, except for this one got some water damage. But if there's a book that I read and I think other people need to read it and I'll get a second copy for myself, I'd love to give away my first copy. Of course, if I think it's in good condition. I'm not going to give away garbage. So anyways, Conquered, really fantastic book. Absolutely enjoyed it. 5 out of 5. Go get it when it comes out for the Volume 2 Kickstarter. Get Volume 1 and jump into this because this is a fantastic world, fantastic story being built. So there you have it, kind of a mixed bag as far as what I got off the indie shelf. It was a lighter week. I got a much heavier week. Next week, I'm excited to talk to you about, but don't sleep on Conquered. I don't know if you can get this after the fact, but definitely when Volume 2 gets crowdfunded, go get Volume 1 and 2. This is going to be an absolute joy to read. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time and attention. Like and subscribe this video if it makes sense for you, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.